So now we have a house full of chaos of toddlers and teenagers and old people and animals. And here we are.
Tells a story of a lovely lady.
Here's the deal. We're two moms and we popped babies out in our 40s. And it's hard. It was hard.
It's also the best thing that's ever happened to either one of us.
Yeah, but now we're moms in our 40s.
In our 40s.
With preschoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's bring the community together of women.
All the moms, 40, 20.
And also, let's just talk about, real shit. Real life, real women shit.
Yeah, real women shit. Let's do that.
Shit's hard. And also, it's funny. Life is funny.
Let me just pull my bush out of my bush.
Cheers.
Cheers. Unfiltered.
Because if you want a show, we're a shit show. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit it.
Okay.
Hit it, Pearl.
Hit it, Pearl. Okay, thank you for joining us for Mature-ish Mamas. I'm Cal.
I'm Megs.
And I'm Autumn.
Hey, you
Hey-o.
guys, we went from 2 to 3 just like that. And our teeny tiny couch,
Yeah.
we're multiplying. We're all mature-ish right now, except for Autumn. She's not actually nearly as mature as us.
I'm just not mature.
Yeah, I mean,
Not there yet.
she's working on it, but you have to at least hit the 40 club, Autumn. So
Yeah.
and I'm slightly embarrassing and this is ageism, I think, but you
Yeah.
know, she's not in her 40s yet.
That's right.
That's okay though.
She's
all
not
right.
She's not in the mature-ish club. She's
That's
in the
okay.
immature club.
I'll stay
Actually,
immature as long as I can.
Yeah, I think it should be opposite. She's probably a little bit more mature than we are.
I think you might go backwards once you hit 40 because then you're just like in addition to everything else, you just start giving even less shits.
Yeah.
I don't know how
You
many
stop
shits you
caring.
give. Yeah. Like
Starting to adjust
in a
here.
good way.
Right.
We stop caring in a
You
good
let
way.
go of the things that don't matter.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So welcome, guys. Here
Welcome.
we are. We're doing it. We're doing it with our another little guest.
Yay, we're so excited to have Autumn today.
Yep. Megs and I, we squeezed our butt cheeks into these teeny tiny jorts
Yep.
just to sit on this couch for you guys not to know what we were wearing. But,
Yep.
got,
We're Jordan. Our cheeks are Jordan.
we're jorting our cheeks. We didn't give Autumn the jort message. So
That's okay. I
she's-
went extra long to make up for your short.
She's
Thank
wearing actual jeans.
Yeah, the real thing. The real thing. She's sitting comfy. So don't know why you guys needed to know that, but you did, and now you know. Now, when you don't know, now you know, everybody.
I was wondering how you were going to end that. I like it.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
That's what I did.
Everybody.
Hey, everybody. That's the actual original version of the song. If you guys know what song I was singing, they just changed the word for different demographic, but that's the original. First you don't know, now you know, everybody.
I have no idea.
Okay, well, that's good.
That's actually probably better for everybody. I mean, I knew a song, Megan.
I know. Good for you.
Oh, thanks.
Working on it. I think it's starting to metamorphosis.
It is.
Like I'm starting to not remember lyrics and you're starting to remember them.
I'm trying to study. So Pink Pony Club, because now that's like the anthem. I watched the words 3 times yesterday and there's only, 18 words in the whole song.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still going to take me a couple months to learn, but I'm going to do
That's
my
okay.
best. Thanks.
2 a month. You got this.
Yeah. My daughter memorizes scriptures, she'll have this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, 2 words a month. That's
For Pink Pony Club.
I put the bagels
perfect.
underneath my kitchen sink where all the cups and the soap and the wax paper and foil goes yesterday.
Nice. That's where bagels go.
Did you put your milk in the pantry too?
Probably. It's probably rotten in there. John probably asked me, he keeps asking if the house smells good. He's probably trying to cover up rotten milk in the pantry
Yeah.
because I'm losing my freaking mind. That's
Hey,
fine.
I'm not far behind you.
I know.
I was freaking out about my phone and running around the house. I was like, gosh dang it. I ran upstairs to get my phone and now I don't, it was in my hand the whole time. And also, let me tell you this, at the airport, I just got back from Texas. I randomly decided to stick my ID card in the backpack that I'd been carrying.
Okay.
I had a purse, I had a wallet, I had jean pockets, I had all kinds, but so in the midst of checking your bag, I'm throwing all my stuff out of my bag and I'm looking at Johnny what am I going to do?
I'm staying in Texas.
I know. And he was like, well, you're just going to have to go do the TSA check, the 2-hour TSA check. And I'm like, what do they do? What
Yeah.
do they take a print of your butthole or what? How do you even get through TSA without an ID? And then I opened up the pocket and there it was.
So the government doesn't have your butthole print then?
Nope, not yet.
That's good. Well, you guys learn something new every day. Did you know that? But you don't know, now you know. Everybody. Okay. Gosh, blonde moments all over the place.
I know, everywhere. Blonde, blonde, blonde.
Just there we are.
Yeah.
Hey, Autumn, speaking of not blonde, but Auburn.
Sure.
Autumn. Oh, and it's almost autumn, and we're having autumn on.
I love that.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, so a lot of people who have guests on their podcast, they don't make the guests sit there for their bullshit intro. They're like, we'll be idiots for a while, and then we'll pull our guest on. Not us.
I listen to your show, obviously, so I know it starts out with all the like just small talk and fun talk and catch up and what happened crazy at the airport this week.
Yep,
so
there it is.
It's all good.
And a little bit of just foul ideas or language. You're not sure which one you're going to get. But both, yeah. A little bit of the both. Let's just start off by telling us about yourself. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
Tell us about you.
Sure. So I'm Autumn. I met Callie, I don't know, last year, I guess.
En la biblioteca.
Sí, en la escuela.
Sí.
So our children, who are both first graders, went to preschool kind of together, not really, and we just met last year when they were in kindergarten. And
I literally forgot that they went to preschool together until just now. So that's cool.
Different times.
Yeah.
So finally our paths crossed and our kids are friends. So we became friends and it's been awesome.
Expanding our tribe. I'm sorry, I'm just going to
Yeah.
interrupt you on that real quick because I want to hear this whole thing. But also, it's not easy. Like, right, I've been seeking to have friends that are my kids' friends' parents because it just makes life easier. And had they not had that little biblioteca event, then we wouldn't have met each other. But we still had to like go out of our way to like exchange numbers and then meet at the park and be like, do we think are we a fit? Do we work or not? We were like trying each other on, and then we ended up going back to your house, and then it's been amazing. So this is one of my counterparts, one of the only other humans aside from me mostest, where my kids will go and play and feel safe, which is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
And I love that. I love having kids in my house, and I love it that there's kids that want to come to my house and can go outside or just run in and run right by you and me and be happy to play.
Not even care. So that was just my interjection of how awesome Autumn. That's what we're calling her.
Awesome Autumn.
Awesome Auburn Autumn. Done.
Ooh, AAA.
I know. Triple A.
AAA.
Never mind. Forget all the rest of it. We're just calling her Triple A.
And the A's change every time except for Autumn.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. We won't interrupt you anymore. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. So I'll just kind of intro based off of what I guess we're talking about. So I'm a nurse. I met my husband through nursing, through work several years ago when my husband and I met in Aurora, crazy Aurora. At the time I was dating someone. He had just started a divorce process. So we were friends for a couple of years. He had 2 little boys at the time, then started dating, and shortly after that got married. So joined forces, joined families, came up here to Thornton, eventually bought a house with my mom and her husband. We have our own little boy as well. So now we have a house full of chaos of toddlers and teenagers and old people and animals. And here we are.
Tells a story of a lovely lady.
So tell us like the dynamic of all of that, because that's a lot living in one space and managing that.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot. I think anybody that even just lives what maybe this side of the world we consider normal, like it's your spouse and your kids, maybe a dog or a cat or whatever. Like there's a lot of dynamics even in that, and there's a lot of compromise. And so just add some more compromise and realizing from day to day, like having to remind yourself what's important, what isn't. You're taking care of kids, you're trying to nurture a marriage, you're trying to balance what's important and what matters with the older generation that's living there, stepkids and when they're there and when they're not, and ex-wives, and there's just a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to balance, but some of the biggest things is truly reminding yourself in some of the tougher moments, like, does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? And how am I showing up to simply be loving and supportive of the people that are in my care? Yeah.
So in your one home, just to be clear for my brain, you have your husband's parents?
It's my mom
Your
and
mom.
her husband.
And her husband. Okay.
Give us ages. Give us ages
Yeah.
of everybody.
Sure.
Let's draw a tree.
Everybody. Let's see.
Everybody.
Round up. Down low, we got Bo. He's 6. And then we have Dylan and Sam, who are 15 and 17. They're with us half the time and with their mom half the time. And then there's me.
And how old's their mom? Just kidding.
Yeah.
And does their mom have a dog?
Yeah. Does she live with you guys?
Oh, my gosh. I don't think any of us
No,
want
but
that,
she does.
including her.
But she also lives very close.
She lives like a block away.
Oh, okay.
So the boys can go back and forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's me. I guess you might want to know I'm 37. Okay. And
A
then
little
my
baby. Just a baby.
little babe.
Yep.
So no, I'm not old enough to have a 17-year-old, but I have one. And my husband he's about to be 45.
Good age.
And my mom is 64, and her husband is about to be 72 tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Happy
birthday. Belated when you watch this.
Yeah, Autumn's mom's husband. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday later on. So 72 to 6
Yeah.
and everything in between. And you guys trying to manage the dynamic of having all of those types of personalities and all of the generations that we did in our generational like video
Yeah.
under one rooftop.
Yeah.
So the first question that I have is about how you guys parent with basically, so it's almost like Bo has 6 parents. I mean, he has like 6 adult figures
Yeah.
who are leading him in maybe different directions. Like, how do you do that? What does that look like?
Yeah. That can be challenging at times and beautiful too, right? Like I think the whole idea of it takes a village is so true. And we just kind of have it built in where you can't avoid it. And I think that's great. But there's challenges for sure. I think there's one of the challenges comes with the stepkid dynamic, because I think something that's pretty stereotypical, but is true, of parents that get divorced is I think they kind of treat those kids a little differently, in that the stereotype is they're a little easier, right, on their kids, because I think there's like this divorced parent guilt. And so
Wait, so let me clarify, because my brain gets confused, obviously.
Sure.
Bagels underneath the cabinet. So you feel like the parent, like the
bio.
the bio parent would be like easier on their kids than the step parent?
Yeah.
Or
And
like
so I would say, like in our situation, so my husband
Yeah.
is a little bit of different parent with the older boys
Okay.
versus with Bo.
Oh,
And
because
so-
of the like kind of like maybe like the divorce guilt or a little bit. So then it kind of
Yeah.
feels like the biggers could get away with a little bit more,
Sure.
or there's a different dynamic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So
It
there's
makes sense,
one-
yeah.
So there's one challenge I think that's kind of difficult to navigate, as Bo sees different parenting, and like I'm trying to do something specific maybe with Bo that doesn't get enforced with the older boys. I'm sure that creates some confusion and inconsistency. There's the blessing of the grandparents. They can help out a lot. They love him obviously in different ways than your parents do. But there's also the challenge. Anyone that has grandparents for their kids can appreciate that, you send your kid with grandparents and they come back and they've eaten like 5 Frosties and they have 5 new toys. And
So
they
for lunch,
derail-
we have like a cigarette and
yeah, real cigarette.
and then to work for like 1.5 hour, 2.5 hour.
Have you guys seen that reel that we did yet? That Megan's the kid playing and doing that. That's basically what's happening at Grandma and Grandpa's house.
Yep.
Just replace the
Yes.
cigarette with the candy cigarette.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Frosties.
And Frosties.
Yeah.
And then
For
those
sure.
grandparents are there every day.
Yeah.
It's not like an every other weekend. So there's a constant, like, I'm going to live, like, give you some freedom and take my kid. And then every now and then it's like, okay, we got to talk about boundaries.
Yeah. So they don't like take on more of the enforcer role. They still maintain the fun grandparent role.
Yeah.
Role. That's what that word was. Role, not role.
Just call it bagels now.
Yeah. The enforcer bagel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Bo doesn't know, like, does he like get one answer from you and then want a different answer from the grandparents?
You know what? He's actually pretty good. For a long time, he was really, really good about, he would know what I didn't want for him, like limits on things. And so Papa would tell him he could have something or do something. And he would come to me almost upset, like, Papa said I could do it. I told him no. I told Papa no. And Papa would be like pushing it on him. So Bo was really good about knowing, like, I'm not supposed to have this or do this. definitely over time there's been a little bit of shift. Like I'll watch him downstairs with Papa and he's just sitting there eating M&Ms or whatever. So I think it depends on the day.
I want to just I want to say that in that I can totally feel what you're saying, because Quincy is a rule follower and he wants to do what's right. And he feels very like this automatic like guilt if things aren't done how he knows they're supposed to. And then Grandpa, and by the way, we love our parents, our whole family dynamics. It's just weird. It's just different, you know? Yeah. So Grandpa will do different things that like, there's been times where he's like, you can sit in the front. And when Quincy's like, I can't sit in the front, Grandpa. Like, and then he's like, no, it'll be fine. Like we did this in my day. And he's like, Quincy doesn't know how to say like, yeah, but it's 2025.
Right. Yeah.
Like you got, like, it's not then. So there's like such a gap between being 72 and being 6 and their little mindsets. So that's challenging, and they want to be with their grandparents. But at the same time, it's like, we also have to, like, that's hard.
Yeah.
How
and
sweet of your boys too, that they follow they know what the rules are, because I mean, mine does not. He's like, Mom, can I have he's addicted to Slurpees right now. Can I have a Slurpee? And I'm like, no, buddy. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't even push back. He just goes to his dad. Dad, can I have a Slurpee? No. Auntie Cal. Auntie Cal. And then she's like, yeah, buddy.
He knows he's going to win one of us over.
It's funny because he doesn't get upset. He just leaves. You didn't give me the answer I wanted. So I love that they are like that.
Well, and I think that's definitely a point where, and I know, Cal, you're all about like positivity and seeing the good too. And I really try to highlight that in him, that like, I'm so proud of you, buddy. I'm so glad that you're trying to do the right thing. And again, I also love my parents and I appreciate them being there. So I never want to be like, well, Papa's evil or whatever, right? But
Papa
I'm so proud of you.
Right?
Yeah. So to highlight that, like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so appreciative that you stand up for what's right. You can say no. Like, you don't have to do what Papa's trying to have you do or take what he's trying to give you. And so spinning it in that way where it's positive and he doesn't feel like this guilt either.
I think the power to teach your children, for all of our children, despite your like living situation, that they have to know that they can say no to authoritative figures. It's like, it's different than, at some point where it's like the adult's always right, or the, whoever's older is always right. And that's not the way the world works. It never worked that way. That's just the way they worked the world. But there are adults and parents and people out there who don't have the best interest or don't know the right way. So teaching our kids it's not even advocating for themselves. It's knowing the difference between right and wrong and feeling that it's okay to say no to an adult.
Yeah, respectfully. Yeah, be respectful, but you can say no.
Yeah. And there's a difference too between, someone who has authority in your life telling you to do something that's maybe like a responsibility to go mow the lawn or whatever.
Sure.
And trying to do something fun with you when you know that maybe that's not safe, that's not right, that's not what your mom or dad wants. So like you said, it's standing up for what you believe to be good or right. And you can do that without hurting someone's feelings,
I mean, you try. I don't I definitely agree with that. But I even think of like, this is a very just like minor thing, but like, we have a bedtime routine and I don't want the kids wound up starting at 7 p.m. Like we're already laying down, we're doing our thing. And sometimes brother, or sometimes maybe even dad or grandpa, usually the guys, like if they're in a mood, like a good mood, they're like, they come in, they want to wrestle, they want to whatever. And they're like, oh, like, and I'm just having fun. I'm like, I get it. You had the other 12 hours of the day to have fun and you're choosing bedtime, and then their feelings get upset. I'm just like, this is not when we wrestle. And then the kids are like, I'm supposed to be calming down right now. And they're doing their best, but they're like, I'm really confused about what's happening right now. Yeah. So sometimes they don't, I don't know, my people, sometimes they don't do the best job about not getting their feelings hurt, and the kids can't control that.
No. Yeah. And I mean, I think too, there's some way that you should teach them that it doesn't matter if the other person's feelings are hurt. Like if you're not intentionally being mean to them, but they still get their feelings hurt, that's on them. That's for them to work through and be upset about. And usually they'll get over it anyways. But man, this shit's hard.
I know.
Do you feel like you have to, in that same line, like, do you feel like you have to parent the other parents and older people in the household to parent the way you parent.
And you also like, you don't want to mess that dynamic up because you want your grandparents to be that way in some way, you know?
Right.
So it's like, that's a lot.
So yeah, I mean, I guess to answer that question, I don't know that I ever feel the pressure to teach people to parent the way I parent. I don't really think of it that way, but to get people to understand, like, you can, have your fun, do things the way you want when you're with my kid, but here's some limits. Like, please don't do this. Don't give them this. If you want to give them a treat, get them this, but not this. So I definitely think there's value in someone doing things differently than I do. Like, I don't always have it right. And even if there's something that I do that's good, maybe somebody does something different that is going to show my kid a different side of the world or a different way of thinking about things. And that's awesome. But as long as someone can at least just honor the limits that I very much feel strongly about for my kids, like you said, like with bedtime or certain foods or whatever it may be, please don't push my boundary.
I think too that that's an important part of that whole process, Autumn, that you're doing is setting that up right in the beginning, having that conversation. Then it helps to not have people be upset later on, because it's like, I've already laid it out for you. I'm not angry at this point. I'm not upset because you haven't crossed any boundaries. But just having a quick conversation and not caring if they care about how you feel about whatever it is that you're saying. Yeah. Just saying, this is how we do it. These are my hard no's. Have fun,
Yeah.
I like the hard no's, I think, are kind of like the foundations of what you're thinking of. So if like, and you're in your family, there's the certain things. This is the foundation that bedtime looks like this, nutrition like somewhat looks like this. Reading time is really, whatever's really important to you. And again, that leads back to something we talk about a lot, is that you have to pick what really matters to you, because not everything's going to go exactly how you want it to. So if it's like my key points, my major things are going to be these 5 things. Otherwise, do your best to do your best. I don't know.
Yeah. And that can be hard. I've definitely had a few points in time where I've had to take a look and even have conversations with my husband and say things like, okay, I need to be better about really being firm about what matters to me, because with all those dynamics and the different people involved, there's times where we do get to a point where I look at life and I think, okay, I really haven't been standing up for what does matter to me. Like, you don't want to be too controlling, but you also don't want to get to a point where you let anything slide as well. And, to that point as well, control is such it's just a tricky thing too. We all, I think, get to points in life where we maybe are trying to control things more than we really need to, or you think, none of us have as much control as we think we do anyway. And so being able to recognize, like, I don't have to have control in all these things, and to remind yourself of that for your own mentality. But I think that's a really good thing to model for your kids too. Like, even in the role of parenting, to be able to say, like, yeah, I'm going to do this and that for you. This is what matters. Here's the things we absolutely do in our family. Here's the things we absolutely do not allow in our family. But I'm going to give some control to that person to do some things with you or speak into your life as well. Like, I don't have to have control over that. And I think that's a really good, healthy thing to model for your kids.
I've never even thought about that. Like, showing them that it's like you learn the lesson that you're not in control when you realize, holy shit, I'm not in control. But like, actually discussing it, kind of like we talk a lot about, like, discussing your emotions and where you're at and processing and how to regulate yourself, but saying, like, this is something that mommy can't control right now, and that's okay. And these are the things that my really important things are this and this. Yeah. But did I want these other things to go my way? But they didn't, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, having that open discussion, I'm sure, would make our kids feel a little bit differently when they show up to life, when they're like, because they're out of control. Like, let's be honest, the majority of the time, somebody else is telling them what to do, who to be, how to act, where to go, what's next. And that's challenging for any of us. That'd be challenging.
For sure. And that's been a big thing, I think, actual discussion wise with our older boys, because they are older. And with living 50-50 between 2 very different houses, is to be able to say things. My husband's very open about this, saying, like, here's what we believe, here's what we think, here's how we do this in our house. But, we understand that at your mom's, it's probably different, and you have a choice of how you approach that when you're not with us. Or if it's your mom's choice, like that's how she runs her house, and we're not going to try to speak to how your mom runs her house. So, we acknowledge that we can't control you or your life. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you went back and forth between houses, right?
It did, yeah.
Did you ever feel like you were like having to show up as two different people in any ways between your households? Because that's kind of what it's making me think about, like what like pressure there is, or perhaps maybe it's the opposite of pressure. Maybe it's like giving them a different type of freedom going back and forth between two different living spaces, two different maybe ideologies. And some might be like very close together, and some households might be completely opposite, like thinking processes, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. In some ways, because too, these are like your formative years that you're like going back and forth between your parents, and even trying, like, it just brought on a different dynamic of growing up, because now like you're trying to figure out who you are and what you want and how to do your life. But also now you're like, I mean, for me, at least, it was like, I didn't want to hurt my parents' feelings in any way, but then it was my parents were polar opposites. Like I like, even to this day, sometimes I'm like, how did you guys ever get together? Because they just are. And so definitely, and we were mostly at my mom's house, and we did my dad's on the weekends. And so my dad was like the fun weekend dad, because we just did weekend things with him. You know what I mean? It's like, we're there for 2 days or whatever. So we go bowling, we do this, and then he doesn't have kids for the rest of the week. So his patience is a lot more. He feels like he wants to like connect with us a lot more, because he's like got these 2 days every, and there's 15 of us or whatever. There's so many. No, there was
the bus pops.
There was a ton of us,
Yeah.
so he like really had to like just be and that's just, I mean, that's kind of his personality anyways, but so we got little increments of fun time with my dad, and then full on life with my mom, who also was a single mom, trying to figure that out. We didn't have a lot of money, and doing that on her own, and then also working through all that she had to work through because of a divorce, and
I'm glad you didn't say shit just now.
I know, me either.
Thanks for blocking that out.
I'm glad I didn't say shit either. I don't know why my brain does that sometimes. Because
you're a
sometimes I'm
mom.
like a full on fuck, and then sometimes I'm like she didn't have that meme, So
don't say poopy.
No.
No, it's because you have your mom mode on. You're talking about your mom, so it's mom mode.
That's probably what it is. I'm talking about my mother.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't like if I cussed.
Oh, you're welcome, Mom. I took over though. Sorry about that.
So yeah, that's definitely a dynamic shift.
How is it for you? And again, I know you love all of your family and all of your humans, but like raising teenage boys who you're the stepmom to, like, what does that word stepmom feel like to you? And I put quotes around it, but it's actually like, that's the real word. There's no quotes.
Yeah.
It's actually stepmom. I don't know.
You are the stepmom.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, there's so many ways to answer that question. It's been interesting because when Clyde and I got married, the boys were 5 and 7, so they were really little.
Okay.
And it's been awesome. I feel like I've always had a good relationship with the boys. As they've moved into teenage years, I think there's just teenage years, and there's challenges there anyway. Some of the challenges that you kind of work through as a step parent and as the bio parent, just the whole dynamic anyway, I think over time it kind of leads to certain things that maybe feel accentuated in teenage years. So how is that? I think the main things is there's so many things I could say to this.
Well, and it's a hard topic because it's your family that you love.
It is. I think some of the big things are keeping a really honest but gentle line of communication with your spouse, because there's things that as a step parent you see and recognize that the bio parents don't, but there's also things as a step parent that you maybe do approach in a little more of a harsh way, because really they're not biologically your kids, and so the biological parents are going to have a little more of an understanding and softness towards it. So it goes both ways, and you really have to have that open line of communication. If I have something that I see and I want to present to my husband from a point of wisdom, like, hey, I'm seeing this isn't good, yada, yada. Hopefully he recognizes that and has enough respect for me that he would care about what I care about. But also being able to step back in things that it's just not your zone. It's not your deal. And to be able to leave it to your spouse, to their mom, to make decisions, and respect that. I think the biggest thing at the end of every road and whatever challenge is remembering you're there to love those kids. You're there to be an example. And there's challenges in that because you don't have as much say in things that happen in your home. But there's beauty in it as well, because when you can remind yourself of that and really embrace it, what a privileged, beautiful position to be able to say, all I have to do is be a good example and show them that I love them. And if I can say something that I think is wise, that's different than what's happening, I can say it and hope that either now or down the road, years, they receive that. I get to just be this influence in their life, which is kind of low pressure if you can accept it.
I think it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I've never thought about that. I think like usually from the outside, I just look at how like the challenges of not being able to parent the kids in your house the way that you would normally parent, and how that would it could just present some different, I mean, just like a rub for everybody, like for your husband,
like conflict.
Yeah.
That just is rough.
And to just see yourself as I'm the positive influence that gets to be on the side, and that you don't have to interfere, but you can comment or support your husband. And I know there's probably a lot of different demographics out there for the way that you set up your family dynamic, right? So some people might completely co-parent, but I could see, especially having divorced parents and having step parents, if some of my stepmoms tried to act like they were my mom and I was like a goody two shoes kid, I would be like, the fuck you trying to tell me what to do? Like, I remember my stepmom telling me that I couldn't have ice cream at night. And I practiced for like 5 hours a night. So I exercised a lot in ice cream. Like, that's just how my dad and I ended the night. We had like a big ass thing of ice cream, but we couldn't because her daughters didn't get to have ice cream. So when her daughter's there, I didn't get to have it. And that was a thing for me. I was like really upset that my stepmom comes in and I don't get to have ice cream. And I wasn't taught like, yeah, but let's have gratitude for the situation or empathy or understanding. It was just like, no, you don't have ice cream. And then I'm like, I guess I'm just going to sit over here and do like 1,000 sit-ups and learn how to French braid my hair again. I don't know, like gymnastics things. Like I don't know. It was hard for me. So I could see where it's hard for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
It is. And there's certainly, yes, like you said, there's very different family dynamics. And hopefully acknowledging that a lot of these things only work when you have healthy relationships with, the kids with the bio parents, so a healthy relationship, kids and the step parents. There's certainly things that, Clyde and I will talk about. How are we going to approach this? How are we disciplining this? And so I definitely do, a lot of times I'm the one that's there more frequently at the house with him. And so I will present to them the rules or enforce the rules. And the challenges come when, you and your spouse talk about something and then you're the only enforcer.
Yeah,
or then they go back on it, because then it does feel like that I can guarantee that feels like that for the kids, that like, oh, stepmom, so she has all these rules. Well, really, we had these rules. I'm just the one that actually has the balls to enforce it. So yeah. That can be a challenge.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Well, and also I think too, without even knowing, maybe in their kid brains, it's like you're the scapegoat. So then they don't have to be mad at their dad. They can just be mad at you. Yeah.
And for dad.
For dad.
Yeah, because dad can be like, well, no, it's, I didn't want to do this.
Well, Autumn really thinks we should just do that. Yeah.
AAA was like, you know what, you shouldn't have ice cream at night. And I'm like, okay, but we usually do, but it's AAA's fault.
Yeah, so it doesn't damage their relationship with their parent and vice versa.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like he or any of you guys intentionally do that,
right.
But there's probably a little space of you. I think even over here, we'll do that because we've got similar dynamic, but like the compound. So we do have separate, at least we could like separate. Like, I don't know what we would do if we couldn't have like our separate spaces to like, here, you go to your corner and you go to your corner. But there's a lot of that where I don't know, it's kind of like, well, that's what your grandpa said, or that's what your grandma said, or that's what your dad said. So we can kind of use each other anyways. And That doesn't really behoove anyone, but we still do it.
I think that's normal.
Parenting 101, what not to do.
Yeah. What not to do. Don't throw each other under the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
John gets mad at me all the time for that. He's like, this is how we're parenting, and you're never like, you're not standing behind me. And then I'm like, well, I don't know which pedestal you're on. Like, I'm not on that pedestal. So then it's confusing. So we don't even like communicate beforehand to establish those foundations at times where I know we got to like meet each other, but we just have the foundation of what our belief in that as co-parents is different. And I don't even know what the solution is for that. We just keep doing it differently and confusing the shit out of our children.
I know. I think, people always say with kids, like consistency and follow through are the two most important things. And that's tricky when, any two people are going to have some different approaches on some things. So just making sure that you're always on, like, you talk about things away from the kids and then present it. But that can be tricky. And I definitely think in the role of step parent and bio parent, that even gets a little trickier. Because again, like, what is, if we're going to discuss something and decide on something, but then you don't enforce it, then is this where I back off? Or do I just have a conversation with you like, hey, wait, are we going to be consistent here? Because this is what we decided.
Yeah.
And step parents, I think, they're a little bit of the scapegoat. And not to make that a pity party for sure, but from the kid's perspective, any kid is, right, they learn to be manipulative and play one person against the other, given like Caston, hey, who's going to give me a Slurpee today? And so then when they live in two households, it's like they become masters at it, absolute masters. And so I think another really important message for both step parents and bio parents who have, there's a step parent in your kid's life, is to recognize that not everything your kids say, whether they're doing it on purpose or not, is actually accurate. It's not maybe always an accurate portrayal of that other person. And so not jumping to conclusions about that person's character or what they actually said or what they did, because it can happen real fast where there's misunderstandings that just pile up between houses.
By that, do you mean like what they're saying about the other people? So like that they might be having a misrepresentation, not even intentionally, about the other human that they're talking about.
Like if the boys were to go home and tell their mom something that you did. Or
even just present a situation with a language or in a way that makes her feel like, I mean, this is kind of like, oh, I like to you, what you said, to your point of like, I don't want to hurt mom's feelings. I don't want to hurt dad's feeling. Make her feel like, oh, well, I didn't want Autumn to do that, or, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been things, other step parents can probably relate to this, where whether my husband says it or their mom says something in a conversation with me that I go, whoa, what was said about me that's the assumption that would be like, that's weird. I don't know how you got to that belief. So I think everybody just has to have understanding of each other, and that can be the dynamic, being willing to have very open, clarifying conversations. Definitely apologize, because we all are fucking up sometimes.
Yeah.
Getting emotional.
Yeah.
Like, emotions get in the way a lot, no matter how much we know what's right and good in these situations. When you have that many people and it's a two household parenting, there's a lot of emotions that come up for everybody. So,
And it sounds a lot too, like going back to that 4 agreements conversation we recently had of not making assumptions about what was said or how it was said. And also, even if it was said, choosing whether or not you want to receive that. And like, that might not be the truth. So stepping in as step parents to be adults, like we're the adult in this whole dynamic. And sometimes I feel like I see parents act like the child, they're not showing up as the adult, and they are, slandering the other person or their ex, or, talking in a certain way that even like that passive aggressive talk, like where you're acting like you're not saying anything, but then you're saying things, which is going to bring pain, like primarily, I mean, to themselves, but to their children. And
100%.
Having to like pour that into, whether intentionally or not, into your kids going back and forth, like it's already hard enough for them. So trying to do your 4 agreements of doing your best and not taking those things personally and not making assumptions of what was said. It's kind of like, whatever, that's probably not the truth. Like, and that's way easier said than done. Like, I'm just going to wipe that off, but I'm sure that's not what they meant or whatever. But
or if it's really, really that bad, having a conversation with the other adult in the situation. Like not only does that clarify what's actually going on and also build a relationship with that person, because no matter if you like them or not, you guys are in each other's lives, like no matter what. Yeah. And then also, I think it also shows your children that even if consciously or unconsciously they're playing you, that they can't play you, because listen, I'm going to go talk to your mom then if there's that big of a problem, or mom's going to come tell me what's going on over there. You know what I mean? Or dad or whatever, or the three of us, whatever the dynamic is. Even if it's, you know, just to clarify a situation or how to handle a situation, the three of you can have a quick conversation about that, you know, and then it's just a really good example, I think, to show the kids, first of all, that's how you handle things. And second of all, gotcha. Like, we're not going to just
gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
For sure. Gosh. And I think all of those things, you know, talking about the 4 agreements and stuff, I definitely have hit up all those where I've been like, failed at that. So again, being willing to apologize to the people, whether it's to the kids, or there have been a number of times I've had to apologize to my husband's ex, and that one's fun.
But you're doing that, like how adult, that's what adulting is, because we all make mistakes, and you're learning. This is the first time you've been a step parent to 15 and 16-year-old boys. Yeah. And you're learning, and she's learning, and he's learning, and they're learning. So you apologizing, again, you're standing up as that role, like the role model you were just talking about.
Sure.
For everyone, not just the kids.
Yeah.
You're inviting people into that space, which is huge.
Yeah. And that's, I think, again, actually, that kind of brings up another beautiful position that a step parent has, is when there are really big issues, most of the time, and maybe not most of the time, I don't know all the divorce situations, but a lot of times those two divorced parents probably don't really want to have very long or deep conversations with each other. So as a step parent, I have had times where I'm like, reach out to the ex-wife and say, hey, you know, can we have a conversation? Or, hey, I just wanted to say this. Because I'm pretty darn sure my husband's never going to do that. Yeah. You know? So to have that position where I can maybe create a little bit more of it when things have gotten rocky and I can feel some tensions and bitterness or misunderstanding creeping up, to have that conversation of, hey, let's just kind of soothe this a little bit and maybe say what's really happening. And that's a really beautiful position.
So a bridge. You're being a bridge instead of gasoline.
That'd be great.
Look at you, build a bridge and burn that motherfucker down. But which one are you? What do you do? Do you build the bridge? Step parents out there, answer us. Do you build the bridge or do you burn it down?
Or do you build a bridge so that later you can burn it down?
You can burn it down. Are you that kid that's going back and forth manipulating the whole situation so you can really burn it down? Oh my gosh. Okay, Autumn, let's do one more thing here. Okay. Wrapping it up, talking about being a step parent and having that crazy family dynamic underneath one household. If there were something that you wanted to share with all the mamas out here watching today, because we always like to just give you an opportunity, what would you lay on them? Who would you speak to the guys in the back? What you going to tell them?
I think there's 2 big things I'd say. One is for mainly the step parents, but anybody, and that is, again, just to really hit home the point of, you can just be loving, you can be a good example. And if you have to remind yourself that day after day after day, even in the hard moments, like, it's a beautiful position. Find your power in just being a loving example, like the cool aunt or whatever, however you have to think about it.
I like that switches at your brain.
Yeah. And the other one is actually for the bio parents on the other side of that. And that is, as step parents, especially ones like myself, that those step kids were the first kids we had, not the second ones. We're learning, like, every phase of it. Your kids are the first ones we're doing it with. And so give us the space, the grace, the freedom to not just learn, but to do some things that we want to do when it's appropriate. Give us that freedom to be a parent the way that we want to be a parent to your kids, because we love them if we do. Obviously, every situation is different, but let us love them the way we want to love them, and it's only going to benefit your kids.
Yeah. Yep. Right there. There it is.
Slow clap.
Yes. Well, and I remember, Megs, when you said this, I think it was a while, I don't know how many episodes ago, but you were talking about how in any situation, even when it's a challenging situation, the more people you have to love your babies, why wouldn't you let more people love your babies? And that's exactly what you're pointing back towards. So, oh my gosh, girl, you're doing it all.
Yeah,
Way to have this household just bursting open.
Sure is.
Yeah, we're proud of you, Mama.
Thanks.
And to all
You
those other
guys.
step parents out there and bio parents who have the step parents around and step parents who have other step parents on the other side of the bio parent.
Step kids and step by step.
Step by step. Yep, I don't remember the next part. But baby, we're shouting you out. That's where that was going. Oh, Autumn, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Autumn, this has been fantastico.
Triple
From the
A.
biblioteca.
Triple A for straight from the biblioteca.
En la escuela.
Yes, well, we love you, and you know how we close this baby out. We love all your guts.
We love your guts.
Love your guts. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.
Silent deuces. Let me see. Megan, you look like you're...
Sunk down into the corner, because I am.
I was listening to you guys' story.
Not bueno, even, Steven.
Nobody puts Maggie in a corner except for herself.
I did. Oh, we all showed up today. I got out of the corner.
I think we're ready.
Okay, let's hit it.
Okay.
Hit it, Pearl.
Hit it, Pearl. Dear goodness sakes.